Milton, Georgia is one of the most unique suburbs in all of Metro Atlanta, but should you move there? Let's find out. Milton is located just north of Alpharetta, Georgia, and just west of East Cobb or Marietta. So it's still in Fulton County, like Alpharetta and Roswell and Atlanta, but it's quite a ways out from the city of Atlanta. It's really almost to the edge of the metro area. And the general feel of Milton, Georgia is very rural. It's not quite like the rest of the suburbs of Atlanta. It's a much more quiet town than the city of Alpharetta. Very often, people who want to live in Alpharetta or close to the city of Alpharetta kind of move to Milton to get away from all of the crowd, even though there's not really a lot of crowd in Milton. But people who are from here in Georgia kind of see Alpharetta as a super busy area. So they kind of move to the city of Milton to get away from that. So Milton is a much smaller town and a much quieter town than the city of Alpharetta. If you're thinking about moving to the city of Milton, or you just want to know what it's like to live here, feel free to call, text, or email me anytime. Thank you so much to everybody who has reached out. I'm always happy to help. Some of the main roads that go through this city are Birmingham Highway, Freemanville Road, and Hopewell Road. And all of these roads are really like quiet back roads. They're not like highways. There are really like no highways that go through Milton. It's not that kind of town. So most of these roads are where you're going to find like the commercial areas. And keep in mind, there are very few commercial areas in the city of Milton. Most of Milton is like residential. In fact, the thing that makes Milton so unique is that most of the city is horse farms. So very often people who are into that equestrian community will move to Milton for this reason. The downtown part of Milton is on Crabapple and Broadwell Road, and this isn't really a city center for Milton. In fact, this downtown area is like on the very southern end, almost to the end of the city limits of Milton, Georgia. But this is where like the biggest concentration of commercial areas is found. And this is where Milton City Hall is found. And so this downtown area is really on the outskirts of the city, but there is quite a bit to do there. There's a few restaurants and a few shopping. There's also a park there in the downtown Milton area. And overall, if you want to get a good sense of the community that you can find in Milton, the downtown area is a great place to experience that. Milton is a relatively new city. I believe it was established in 2007, and it's not quite the same as some of the older cities. Milton still is developing a lot of its infrastructure, and a lot of the different state or city departments are still being developed there in Milton. So they really have a little ways to go. Sometimes it can be possible to not find a home that has internet access or high-speed fiber internet access there in Milton, because those lines haven't been taken out all the way to the city of Milton. So certainly something to think about. Or septic tanks versus sewer line. Very often in the city, a home is on a sewer line, but there in Milton, because the sewers have not been taken all the way out to that city, many of the homes are on septic tanks. So this is the kind of infrastructure that you can see is still being developed in the city of Milton. But overall, this city is without a doubt one of the most beautiful and one of the most peaceful cities in all of Metro Atlanta. And that is really one of the biggest draws to the people who are moving to Milton. In the last 60 days, the median sold price in the city of Milton is $957,000. And right now there are about 80 homes for sale in Milton, with the average being about 1.8 million. The homes in Milton are typically modern style farmhouses with lots of land, as you can imagine, with the amount of horse farms and equestrian centers that they have there. This kind of lifestyle is really what dominates that area. So while Milton is one of the most beautiful suburbs, and there is so many people wanting to live in that area. There are actually a few things about the city of Milton that are kind of downsides or cons to living in Milton. So if you're thinking about Milton, let's talk about some of the things that you should be aware of, maybe some of the red flags about living in Milton, Georgia. Again, one of those red flags is the infrastructure that they're still trying to develop. Another red flag is the price point. An average home value of close to 1 million is quite a lot for an area that doesn't really have a whole lot going on. It's not like downtown Atlanta. It's not like Marietta Square. You're not going to find a whole lot of activity in the city of Milton. And there are plenty of other places around Georgia where you can find large lot sizes for your home and country living for far less than $1 million. Now, you might not be able to get the, super new modern style farmhouse that you can get in Milton, but there are plenty of other places like Adairsville, Canton, Gainesville, where you can get all those same amenities that you can find in Milton, but not have to pay that enormous price tag. So you got to realize that that $1 million price tag in Milton comes because of the equestrian community there and the style of houses that you can find in the city. But as for finding country living, there are plenty of other places where you can find that. And then another red flag for living in Milton is that there's very few commercial areas. Driving to a grocery store, for example, might take you 15 to 20 minutes. Driving to a post office could take you 15 to 20 minutes. So different daily errands that you might run could take a little longer in the city of Milton because of how much more spread out the city is. And then because of the higher home prices, you're also going to see higher property taxes in the city of Milton. Generally speaking, you can expect about 1% to 1.25% of the value of the home for property taxes. So for $1 million home, you're looking at about $10,000 to $13,000 a year for property taxes in the city of Milton. I know for many people coming from other parts of the country, this does not sound super high, but in Georgia, this is very high. Again, there are so many other cities where you can get similar amenities and great home values and not have to pay $1 million for a home. But I can certainly see why so many people move to the city of Milton with its excellent schools and the style of homes there. Also, the crime rate in the city of Milton is almost non-existent. You really don't see or hear of a lot of crime in that city. To really give you a good idea of what the city of Milton feels like, let's take a look at the amount of people who live there. The population of Milton is 41,000. When we compare that to some of the other suburbs, we can see that that is really not a lot of people. For example, the city of Marietta has 65,000. The city of Alpharetta is about 60,000, and the city of Atlanta is about 500,000. So 41,000 people in the city of Milton is super low. This is really the kind of city where you move to get away from everything, to get away from the commercial areas, to get away from the traffic, and apparently to get away from the people. So Milton is that kind of city. You're really not going to see long lines at the grocery store. You're not going to get in a traffic jam on the way to work. Unless, of course, you're driving to the city of Atlanta from Milton. So Milton certainly has that small town vibe. Certainly a lot to think about when it comes to Milton. If you want to know more about this awesome city, check out this video. I'll see you there.